My question is, I'm starting with 3 businesses. How do I promote each one of them in every way? The biggest thing is focus. I would look at this on a long-term vision for what does Sergio want to create? Where do we want to go? What is our life plan? Right? And then for making money, think of these in steps. So instead of all 3 at the same time, which one do you want to do first? And it might be just which one can pay you more first. Maybe the wedding business pays you first and faster, and it's maybe not your deepest passion, but it gets you paid so that you can focus on the other things. The challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs have is we have so many great ideas and so many things that we could do, and then we start all of them, and then nothing ends up happening because we've applied a little bit of effort across 3 different ideas. Instead of if you said, hey, I've focused a lot of my effort on one, I might be able to have some serious success. So instead of saying only do one idea, I'm saying just start with one idea and make that thing work. And then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one can happen. Like if Peter, who makes these animation videos, if he also wanted to make long form YouTube videos and he wanted to open up a podcast space for people to rent, to come and do podcasts from his studio, and all these other ideas that are related, it's cool. But trying to do all of them together would mean he does nothing. So what's the order? Pick the business that you think can start generating money for you, and then focusing on that one before going to the next. Sandra mentioned Aweber. Yeah. So for the email question, we use Aweber to send out emails. Most of them are the same, whether it's Aweber or MailChimp or the other programs. But from all of these, the easiest one to think about is at the beginning of a business, instead of thinking business to consumer, think business to business. So step 1 is figure out which of these 3 businesses is the one that you're going to start with to focus energy on and start making money with. The next becomes inside of that one business, what's the easiest way to go business to business instead of business to consumer? So if I look at Peter's business again, an example, if he's selling animation videos to individuals, could he sell some? Sure. Could he sell like a happy birthday video to somebody? I'm sure. But the problem is it's really hard to get scale. It's really hard to get big. You need to be really well known or spend a lot on marketing to get a lot of individuals to know you. And it's mostly these one-off sales. Somebody who buys a happy birthday animation video, they're only going to buy one happy birthday animation video. Where if he sold to businesses, which ultimately is, what he's basically trying to do, they won't just buy one video, they'll buy 3 videos every week from him to create. So that one client generates a lot more money for a lot less effort than trying to go off and find all these new clients who are paying a little bit of money. So in your first example, virtual courses for electrical engineering to students and professionals, if that's the model you pick, we don't want to go and try to sell students and professionals one-on-one. We need to figure out who are the businesses or the organizations that if they knew who you were, they could take you to 1,000 professionals or 1,000 students. So we want a few relationships that lead to a lot of sales instead of a lot of relationships that lead to a little and few sales, because the marketing and the promotion becomes really, really hard. As you build and get bigger and have a brand and have an audience, all of those things become easier. But this is where a lot of people end up stopping their businesses because they have a great idea, but they're just not making any money doing it. So what's the fastest way to do it? It's typically through a business relationship. So step 1 is figure out where to focus. Which of these 3 businesses we're going to focus on? And then step 2, from that business, how do we make it a business to business relationship instead of trying to sell directly to the consumer? Because then it allows us to be able to grow a lot faster and have more sustained revenue ongoing.
When we posting something on IG, then I saw some competitor, they come to comment to my post. Is it a good way for us to go to comment to other competitor posts as well?
It's probably where I wouldn't spend too much time. I think that the value of the comments are decreasing. If there's someone who you really want to try to build a relationship with and you know that they are responding to comments, then maybe. But if I had to pick between, it's not that it's a bad idea. It's just, is it the best use of your time versus other things? I would rather you spend if I'm you, I'd rather spend time making more content and specifically paying attention to the retention curves of your videos, both on YouTube and on Instagram, to see where are people falling off on the videos to just get better, to make better content. Because that, the whiteboard animation videos, some of them super well. And not just like you, but just in general, like whiteboard animation is great because you're taking words and making them into a picture and a story, which makes it easier for people to understand. And you're taking like your favorite 40 seconds or minute or 15, whatever, however long, and cutting it up. So it's figuring out, what does the next level in whiteboard videos look like so that you become the guy that everybody wants to go to help them make videos. Are you doing it yourself, or you have a team helping you?
I do it myself.
Cool. And it's a great start. I like it. And so you're picking quotes that you like, hopefully, and when you're pulling up my stuff, hopefully you like the things that I'm saying. But now it's figuring out, and the retention curve will tell you which ones are holding attention and which ones are not. And is it the music that you add in? Is it a certain animation style? Is it putting text on the screen? Like, all of those things become super important, because if you can really crack that, then it becomes a service that you can really easily sell to other people. I'm super excited. Like, when you started doing it, it's like, this is great. And it's definitely a business. You definitely have a business opportunity there. The biggest thing that I would look at is, I don't know that your whiteboard videos look different enough from other people's whiteboard videos yet. And so it's figuring out how to master the attention curve, especially in an Instagram environment, or like the short form that you're doing. YouTube, we say 70% at 1 minute. Like Instagram and YouTube Shorts, everything is so much, even it's like fast. Like 1 minute, the video's already over, right? So it's like, how do you master the first 10 seconds, the first 3 seconds that people want to watch it, and playing around with those things? Because if you can prove that your method works, whether it's sound effects, whether it's the right picture or image or text or animation or whatever it is to hook attention, it's the kind of thing that you can sell to tons of people. Like, you have so much business, you won't know what to do with it, but you have to really hack that attention curve. I see Lady Lexi in the house. Welcome. She's got her hand up. It's dark over there. How are we doing, lady?
Yeah, that's true. It's dark over here. It's almost 8:15 in the evening. So that's correct. Yeah, I do have a question. So the last couple of weeks, I have been, last couple of months probably, I haven't been doing much on YouTube. But here's the thing. Everybody says that I need to make sure that if I post a link on there, say, for instance, for doing a challenge, that I need to do an upsell as well. And that's where, because I'm still trying to figure out how to do it, I'm completely stuck. So I think I can do it, but it would be easier to just say, okay, I'm not going to do an upsell, get the challenge out there, and then keep going, than not doing anything at all anymore, because that link is not the link it should be, because there is no upsell.
Cool. So there's 2 separate things here. The first is, nothing should get in the way of making content.
Agreed.
If you have a personal issue, or you end up traveling, or there's something happened, cool, but there's no business reason. Like, the fact that you don't have an upsell should not be the reason why you stop making content.
Yeah,
so
totally agree.
Content has to go up. And listen, it's great. And you already know. You probably thought I would say that anyway, but it's great. It's like the extra affirmation and like kicking the butt to say, okay, Lady Lexi,
yes, exactly. That's it.
No more excuses. Let's make some content, right?
Yes,
so
thank
great.
you.
So there's no business reason why. Like, you have to start making content. Cool. Now, aside from that, so if the model is going to be content leads to a challenge, leads to an upsell, right? Like, is that that's the model?
Yeah.
Cool. The upsell doesn't have to be. First off, you don't need to have an upsell. It helps with the business model, but you don't need to do anything. except make content. You need to make content.
Yeah.
So that's the need. But if you're going, think about it as a value that you bring to your audience. So you have your content, you're making videos. Cool. You have a challenge. And what's the point of your challenge, or what's the challenge called? How to speak out?
It's the cleanup challenge. So it's about looking at your old routines, friends, whatever you're doing, looking at the things you want to do, see what you've done in the recent past, and then see how you can mix it up to become a better routine. But it might be, getting rid of stuff, friends, different goals, whatever.
Cool. So you have your cleanup challenge. Awesome. That's valuable for people who are watching your content. It's like it's valuable for people who know you, who've seen some of the videos, who might be on your email list, who might follow you on Instagram. Like, it's valuable for them to say, okay, you know what? I like Lady Lexi. I want to clean up my life. Now it's finally time. She's going to do this challenge. The challenge becomes a way to do it together, where they may not do it on their own, but because you're doing it and we get to do it as a group, I'm more likely to follow through, or at least I hope that I'm likely to follow through because we get to do this thing together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's already incredible value for people who do decide to sign up and come out. If I think through the challenges that we've done, sometimes people they just get enough value from the challenge right away, and like that's enough, And sometimes that they did it, they cleaned up their old habits, they replace them with new ones, they're grateful, they got a result. But some people, they want to do more. Some people, they miss the vibe, right? Like even on Tuesday, we had people fly into Toronto from the US and Dubai and Canada, and I did some coaching videos with them. And it was such a great vibe that we made that everyone was like, when's the next one?
Yeah,
like
I wanted to be there.
People want the next one. It's like, when? Oh, I want to do that again. Like, I want that vibe again. I want the challenge again, right? So hopefully in the challenge you're creating, you've helped people inside the challenge take a step that they were too afraid to take themselves. And they didn't feel supported. They didn't have the community, and they weren't doing it themselves. But now, because of you and the group that you created, they are taking that next step. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some people should then miss it. They're like, oh man, I wish I had this every week or every month, or I wish I could talk to Lady Lexi more, right? That's where the, upsell, I guess, would come from. Say, hey, if you want to work with me one-on-one, or if we want to do this as a coaching program or group, let me know. And here's the program that I have. And some people won't do it because they don't want to do it. They got enough value from the challenge, and like, that's it. Cool. Some people won't do it because they don't have the budget to be able to do it, and they can't afford the whatever it's going to be. And some people will do it, and some people will say, yeah, I'm ready to bet on myself. I'm ready to take the next step. I'm ready to take some action and build momentum and stop staying stuck. I'm ready. And so it doesn't have to be a fancy, it could be as simple as a PayPal link, right? It's like, hey, for anybody who found value in this challenge, like, what's the thing that you upsell? What's the next step? If you don't even think about it as an upsell, like, what's the next step after a challenge? Is it one-on-one work with you? Is it group coaching? What is it?
Preferably group coaching, starting with a 7-week one-on-one coaching, and then enroll in the group coaching.
Okay, so then the next step becomes a one-on-one call with you.
Yeah.
And that's a one-off call, that's a once-a-week call, a once-a-month call?
I would like it once a week for 7 weeks, and then go into the group. So
once a week for 7 weeks is the call. You don't even have to talk about the group next. Like, don't make it too, the more options, and it just scares people. Mm-hmm. So the next step is to hop on a call. If you like this, you got value to this, and you want to go deeper with me, the next step is I do one-on-ones, and it's 7 weeks where it's once a week, and we get on the phone or Zoom for half an hour, an hour. How long is the call?
Probably an hour.
Okay. So every week for 7 weeks for an hour.
Yeah.
And what does that cost to join?
Including the group coaching for, say, for the next year, it would be somewhere between 2,000 or 3,000.
Okay. So if you guys found value in this challenge and you like this energy and you want it to continue, the next step would be to join me where I do 7 hours over 7 weeks of one-on-one calls with you. And then we form a group where we continue to help each other for the next year. And that's $2,500. And if you want to join, here's the link. Or DM me on Instagram and I'll send you the PayPal. Or you can just put your PayPal link in the Zoom chat and say, PayPal me $2,500 and you're in.
Yeah, that part is covered. So actually from the previous challenge, I have someone and we had to change the amount of money, but I was like, okay, I'm just, coaching you weekly, and then she'll be turned over to group coaching. But for now, it gives me value as well, because the way I coach her, it gives me so many ideas. But the doing that through PayPal, sending her the link, for the monthly payments, that's easy. That's doable. I figured that out. It was just literally the upsell that I was running into. And if I can keep it the same way, I basically can change the link, copy and paste the whole thing, change a few words, and then it's done.
Okay, so what do you mean you're struggling with the upsell? Is it the language or what to say or what?
No. The one-click upsell, those things. Because they say if you offer something like a free challenge, you also need to give them the possibility to buy, for instance, the book. Or already subscribe to. And because that part is new to me, so I've been looking at it, been going through Kajabi, but there's a lot of work involved with even in Kajabi. And I found a plugin I can use on WordPress, which looks doable. But I've noticed it just keeps me from even the podcast I was going to do. Well, we talked about it last time, was the quality, which wasn't good. So I've been looking for new microphones and all that stuff. I've got it. So I can start doing the podcast. But the whole, just the blog post, it literally got stuck on. But it says, go to the cleanup challenge, carocc.com/cleanup challenge. And I was like, yeah, but I need that one-click upsell because I didn't have it there. I literally got stuck for like 3 weeks already because I wanted to start the challenge this weekend.
Yeah, I mean the upsell there, or like order bump, right? What it's called. We have an order bump. That some people will get it. Cool, right? Mm-hmm. Some people won't. Whatever percent, 10%, 20%, 30%. Like it's not 100% of people, especially off of a free challenge, right? Some people will get it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But think about how much you're selling it for. I mean, how much is your order bump going to be for your book or whatever?
Oh, the book is not that much. That's probably about $7. Okay,
so
then I could, of course.
This is great. This keeping things in perspective. Like the reason why you were supposed to launch a challenge this weekend, and the reason why it didn't go up was because you're missing out potentially on a few $7 sales.
Yeah.
Right. But and that's not to make you feel bad. We all get stuck in this kind of stuff, right? Like we all get stuck on little things that we feel are important and then realize, oh, I didn't even get my challenge up. And like that's the big thing. So it's not that is having an order bump a good idea? Yeah. Is it going to make a big difference? No. And it definitely can't be the reason why you're not making content, and it definitely can't be the reason why we're not launching the challenges, right? So it's like, here's our priority, here's what has to get done, and then these are some nice to adds that we can put on in the process. And if you don't figure it out in time, you don't figure it out in time, and you figure it out maybe for the next challenge, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing and coming on the spot, because I think a lot of people, myself included, struggle with some of those things too. It's like, I tell myself, this is such a stupid thing. Why am I stuck on this thing? And then I'm not doing something that I know I should be doing. And it's just a perspective shift to come back to, okay, like a $7 book that I'm going to make a few sales off of is not a good enough reason to say I completely stopped making YouTube content for 3 weeks and I didn't launch our challenge that I was supposed to, right? So anyway, this is a nice little perspective shift reminder to just get it done. And maybe on the next challenge, the ebook is done and maybe it's not, but we have to make content and launch our next challenge.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Cool. I just needed this little push. So thank you.
We're here for you, Lady Lexi. All right.
Thank
Much
you.
love.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome.
Thank you. All right. So I was in here last week, and Zen highly recommended that I hire, individuals to help me with my journey and so forth. And of course, I'm coming up with the budget for that. My business is in real estate, and I have my passion is in the performing arts. I do a lot of fitness. I do so much of like the on stage. You give me a microphone and I will dominate the crowd. So that's my cycle. I take the winnings from competitions in fitness and everything that I do in the shows. So the winnings from the shows, I invest in real estate. And then the real estate profits I put back into the production of shows.
Okay.
And so I want to travel the world. And Zen recommended that I hire, a team that will help me with all of that. It's just a matter of time. And I have to say that I have been so inspired by all the books that I have read from you, Evan, and from the just being on here. It has generated so much energy for me to be able to put forth all the effort needed. So I don't know what you can recommend as far as what the next steps will be.
Well, what are you trying to build the most right now?
When it comes to social media, when it comes to marketing and so forth, YouTube is my platform for sure. Like because I'm so into like making videos and just producing content with like that caters to a platform like YouTube. Of course, I have everything else. I literally have everything else, and I have followed you on everything else.
But what do you ultimately like? What do you want to build and sell? Are you trying to sell you as the fitness guy? Are you trying to you're going to educate people on real estate? Like, what do we want to ultimately sell? What's our business model going to be? Before worrying about social media platforms, like how are we going to make money in our business?
So the business end of things is real estate. It gets really convoluted because of the fitness and so forth. I am very I'm a huge mental health advocate, and I know that's a major component within like the homelessness. Like I need to be able to get people to kind of like reboot so then they can be mentally in tune with what they want in life, provide them the essentials. So the business is like /charity /nonprofit. And so then get them off the streets, get them into like, being, living off of like the basics and transforming their dreams into reality. And so if we can provide homes for them, if we can get them to realize how important it is to focus on their goals and their dreams, then when it comes to giving them those elements within the real estate, then hey, if you're a fitness competitor, if you're someone who is gonna wanna send your message out, then by all means, I'm all for that as well on the fitness end of things.
So I love the mission. It's great, dude. It's great. Where a lot of people struggle is I've got this big mission, and you're not trying to solve some small problem. You're like, you want to solve homelessness. That's not just one little tiny thing. It's a big deal. Where people often struggle is, okay, I've got this big mission and I'm willing to work, but I don't know what to do to make it work.
It's the truth, man. And I'm out here. I'll tell you right now, I bought 4 acres up here in the northern part of Florida. And I am literally putting myself in the shoes of individuals that I want to cater to. So when it comes to like being out here in the wilderness, when people don't have money to eat, when, all of this, all these different components that will give me insight on what it's like to be, like, for example, a homeless person on the streets. It will be so important for me to know in depth when it comes to what I can offer on the real estate side of things. And then when it comes to just, maybe not everybody is like ready to be on the stage. They're not ready for an audience or whatever. But when it comes to telling their stories, or when it comes to just them being physically, mentally, and spiritually fit, is something that I want to be a part of.
Cool. I think what we would need to figure out is the business model that's going to help you go from where you're at now to achieving your big mission. Because if you do it like you're doing it, it's great, but it's small. Like the way you're going now isn't going to solve homelessness, right? So if you just take, hey, you're going to keep competing and keep doing your thing and take money, put into real estate, and over time, real estate keep growing, and you're going to give 1% of what you make from real estate to help homeless people or whatever. Like you can do that, but it's like, you're never going to solve homelessness at that rate. And so it's not to, this is where a lot of people get stuck, is like, I'm doing this thing to serve the world on the evenings and weekends because I don't have a model to make it go. Because if this was your full-time thing and you had 400 people on your team helping you, now you can make a real dent into solving this problem, as opposed to this part-time thing. And that's not to say what you're doing is not good. It's amazing. Like if everybody gave 1% or whatever it is and spent their evenings and weekends like thinking about a cause that they cared about, what a much better world we'd all be living in. The challenge is, if you said, I don't know if it's charity or not for profit. If you're relying on donations to make something work, you just basically become a donation organization. And all charities are like massively understaffed and underfunded and have a hard time getting the best people, because there's no real business model apart from asking for help. And so what I try to encourage people to do, not that that is wrong, if that's really the path you want to go down, but if you can figure out a business model that pays you, that allows you to do this full time, that allows you to hire a team to then go off and have a much bigger impact, you're just able to go off and have a much bigger impact. So what is something that we can sell? And you don't have to have the answer right now. You can come back in weeks and, we'll be here and Jan will be here too. But what is something that we can sell that then we give a portion back? So if you love mental health, could you sell mental health workshops where you have people come to your facility in Florida and they're coming and learning from you, and you're bringing in experts, and they're people with money have mental health problems too.
No, it's true.
And they're coming and they're dropping 4 or 5 figures to be there with you. And one person in the room is always going to be a homeless person, and 20% of the profits go to support homelessness in Florida or whatever it is. But like, we're building a business model around it. So the skills that you've learned, you're teaching other people who have a budget to pay you. And then you're able to like, every time when I did my tour in 2019, we hit 23 cities, 90 days. And in every stop, we had 5 to 10% of the people who came in who did not pay for their ticket. Many of them were homeless. But you wouldn't tell. Like, people think homeless, you have to be some bum and like super smelly and like right. That's actually not, like, there's a lot of people you never even know are homeless.
So true.
And so we had some people who would come in, like I would always say 5 to 10% up to 10% of the audience that would be free, that I don't even want to know too much about your story. Like, I'm not here to judge your story, and like you can't afford it, you can't get in, we're going to give you this ticket, and I hope that it has an impact on your life, right? But I'm making money off of the 90%, which helps me fund the trip and the Airbnbs and the hotels and the gas and the film crew and everything else, right? It's like you have a business that then allows you, if it was only going and doing workshops for the homeless or for people who couldn't afford it at all, then I'm out of business, because I'm just out of my pocket all the time, or trying to find a sponsor or find a donor all the time to do it, as opposed to saying, hey, I can make this into a business, and then I can hire a bigger team, which then allows me to help even more and more people along the way. So the issues that the homeless people are facing and the skill level up that you want to give them is if it's around something like mental health or fitness or education and real estate or how to be an entertainer or perform or like whatever the things are that you are deeply connected to, you can teach people those things. You can create programs and coaching and centers helping people with those things where people who have money will pay you because they want to learn those skills as well. There's lots of people with money who have mental health issues. There's lots of people with money who want to learn real estate. There's lots of people with money who want to get in better shape. Lots of people with money who want to perform and learn how to be great on stage. Like, I don't know what in there you want to teach. Maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's two of those things. But in helping them, you then also bring people in who are homeless to be able to be a part of that class. And again, you're not seeing like, that's the homeless person, right? Like they're just in the class, right? They're like everybody else. But then using 10%, 5%, 20%, whatever, depending on your margins, then goes to support homelessness in Florida as a starting point. Like if you can start making that into a business, then now you have like in you coming here and say, I'm trying to figure out my budget to hire people. Well, the budget's all coming out of you, right? So now the budget doesn't have to come out of you and you dipping into your savings to make it happen. It's coming out of clients who are paying. And we have a real business model now that we can go off and turn this into a company for good and actually go off and accomplish our mission.
I got a question. So, Evan, I'm very fortunate and grateful to say that I've been invited to speak at a virtual event on June 14th.
Let's go.
I didn't expect to get the level of attention that they've given me. It's a 3-day event, 34 speakers, and they put me right after the keynote presentation. I'm the second speaker to present.
Great.
I'm working on the PowerPoint presentation. I'm practicing. Don't have a lot of experience giving presentations. They say 30 minutes, 15 minutes for questions. Curious if you have any advice or feedback because you're the master at this kind of stuff. So
yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. So as this is fun, as the world's opening up and I'm doing a bunch of presentations. My next one is in Vegas. Some of you will see Zan down there. And it's in 2 weeks, I think. And I'm on just before Gary V, I think. Wow. And it's Sean Cannell's YouTube event happening in Vegas. So I've got
Sean Cannell's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's 25 minutes that I'm speaking for. So a couple of things to think about. One, audience interaction is always the best. You know, like most people get up there and just speak and speak and speak and speak. And it's never as personal as it could be. So as much as possible, I love defaulting to as much Q&A as possible, but people need to know they need to know what to ask, right? So if I'm coming into a room and I've got 25 minutes to talk, or you've got half an hour to talk, I would love to set the stage with 10 minutes of talking and presenting something so that people know kind of who you are and what you're talking about. And then as much time as Q&A as possible. That's my personal style. It's the most fun for me when you feel like you're actually helping somebody. I think it's also the most value for the audience too, to see you helping somebody out. It's a lot more dangerous though. It's a lot more risky because you don't know what's going to come at you and you hope you don't get asked questions that you don't know how to answer, right? If Tanya says masterclass, I don't know. I don't use masterclass, but you can always say you don't know. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I don't know, right? If you don't know, don't fake it and say, well, and like some BS answer, right? So that's more personal preference. I used to do all scripted, perfect PowerPoint, no time for Q&A because I was worried about disappointing the audience. And I would also talk really fast, which sometimes ESL people couldn't understand. And so it's like, if you think about what's the main thing you want people to get out of this? Like if they're going to go to a 3-day event. You're one speaker out of all of the speakers that are there. They're going to leave with a notebook full of ideas, and most people are going to do 0 on it. This is what happens at events. So if you were the one guy that they remembered for one thing that they're going to take action on, what is that thing? And make the whole presentation about that thing so that they can hopefully get into action mode. The second thing, though, like if you want to get more of this, be the person who brings the most value to the event. So when is your event? June something?
June 14th.
June 14th. Perfect. So when Sean, now I've known Sean for a long time, who organized the event, but I said, hey, Sean, initially he was giving me like 11 minutes or something. It's like, cool, Sean, happy to come on, do whatever. But if I'm coming down and I'm going to be there for 3 days, use me. If you want me to do breakdowns of people's channels and you want to sell it as a VIP bonus, if you've got people who've upgraded tickets and you want to give them extra access, I'm happy to do a special session over lunch. If anybody cancels on the day of, I'll come in and talk on their session. If they're hosting any extra panels and you need an extra member, count me in. If you want to do some pre-promotion and talk about it, I'm happy to interview some of the people who are also going to be speakers at the event to talk about your thing, to give you content to go and promote. Like, think about the person organizing this event and how you can be as valuable as possible to them so they have a successful event, as opposed to just thinking about your 30-minute talk on this one day, right? Because that way, you like the next time they're running the event, who are they going to call? Not Ghostbusters, they're calling Andrew Murdoch, right? and you just get known as the person who brings the most value, because most speakers, now it's a virtual event, so it may not be the thing, but most speakers fly in, fly out, and they don't stick around. Where if you're there and you're asking people's questions and you're helping and you're the most valuable person there, you're going to get invited to do a whole bunch more stuff as well. So, you know, people who are putting on these events are under a lot of stress and pressure and a lot of moving parts, a lot of chaos, and people do cancel last minute all the time on things. And if you're the guy who is always picking up the slack, a lot of great things open up to you. I don't know if you know Jamie. Do you know Jamie Kern-Lima?
No.
She wrote a book called Believe It. Lady Lexi, Tanya shaking their heads. She wrote a book called Believe It. It was a New York Times bestseller. She's gone on and done events with Tony Robbins and Dean and Brendan and, you know, part of our crew. And she started a company called It Cosmetics and sold it for $1.3 billion in cash. So a pretty awesome story, like female badass success story. And at Brendan's event, so Brendan Burchard was hosting his event, and one of his speakers canceled last minute, like couldn't make it in, whatever reason. And so he's asking who can speak, like who else can come and speak. And Jamie was in the audience, and one of the staff members knew she was there, and she said, have Jamie come up. She's done some on-camera stuff and has a great story. And so Jamie came on stage, and that became the birth of a whole business for her. Now she's a speaker and best-selling author, all of this other stuff, just because she was willing to say yes. So a lot of balls drop on events like this, and just showing that you're willing to be a part of it, to, you know, again, be on panels, replace somebody if they skip out, host an awards. You know, if they're giving out awards, you're happy to host and give out some of the awards, bonuses. Any of the VIPs who are upgrading, part of that bonus could be, I don't know how many people, like it could be one-on-one with you, but that's too many, a group session bonus with you. Like, how can you just bring incredible value to the people putting on the events? And that opens up, if you want to do more speaking and build more connection, that opens up just a huge world of opportunity.
That's fantastic feedback. Thank you so much for that. And speaking to what you just said, just being willing to say yes.
Yeah.
I didn't hear of this event before, never heard of this event before. Mm-hmm. They contacted me like a year ago to guest speak on their podcast. So I did the podcast and then never thought about it ever again. And then randomly they reached out to me and said, hey, Andrew, we really loved having you on the podcast. We'd like you to apply to be a speaker at our event, submit an abstract. Again, submitted the abstract, but didn't give it a second thought. And now, before I know it, now they've got me the second speaker in their event. And I was like, oh, and just being willing to say yes and just take where the universe is guiding me, I guess. So.
Well, and just keep putting out goodness and bringing value, right? I mean, today, Thursday is our public facing day for me. So we started with Brandlytics this morning, and then it's just all day podcasts, and I'm on people's shows, and then this, and then more podcasts. And when people ask me at the end, hey, where can people find you? Like, it's always like, where can people find you? What's one thing you can do for me? Right. And if I was on your show, I'd say, hey, Andrew, how many episodes have you created of your show? And you'd say, I don't know, this is episode number 84. Cool. Andrew's done 84 of these episodes, guys. If you love Andrew's work and these episodes and the guests that he brings on, the best thing you can do for me is go give him some love. Go to the YouTube channel, give him a thumbs up, give him a comment, go to iTunes and give him a review and give him 5 stars, because it's so much work to create this show. that little bit that you do means a huge difference to helping that get up to more people, right? So I'll use the time at the end to promote me, to promote you, to promote the host. And so you're the only one who ever does that, right?
Yeah.
And so then you get asked to be on other people's shows. You get asked to come back. You get asked to speak at events, and then you get asked to get paid to speak at events, and then you get book deals, and right? All of this stuff starts to come because you're always looking at how do I give incredible value to the person who is having me on, right? So you're not just thinking about showing up for the 30-minute podcast or the 30-minute interview. It's like, how do I help this person grow their business and grow their brand and be a catalyst? It's like, for me, it's just good karma. Like, just help. It's great. But it also becomes a killer business strategy because something will always come back for you.
Yeah. Rising tide. Yeah. Love that, man. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cool. Samit's got his hand up. What do we got, Samit?
How are you, Evan? So,
good, man.
Similar question to Andrew is actually prior to the invitation, I made an impact at a live event, but trying to get invited to speak at that event and kind of get access in a larger way rather than being a quote attendee, where I was a attendee of a mastermind. Feel that based on feedback had an impact there. Now they're doing a live event for a larger community and trying to get invited, but wanted to do it in a way there where I'm adding value to them, but not coming off as desperate or.
Okay. So two things. One is in the lead up to the event is that it's ongoing. It's not just, hey, I want to get into this event, that this is a relationship that you're trying to build ongoing. So always looking for new ways to help them, think of them. I have a list of people that I want to stay in touch with. And at least every 90 days, I have to do something to stay in touch with them somehow. Right. So put this person on your list, find a way to at least every month, think of some way to add value so that when a next event comes up, you're automatically the person that people are calling. Like, I'm getting destroyed right now with the number of invites to things because over the past 2 years, all I've done has been helping people grow their thing. And now that events are coming back and the world's opening up, everybody's like, hey, Evan, can you come speak at this? Hey, Evan, can you? Like, now it means it's a great problem to have, but it's because of 2 years of just bringing incredible value to people. So think of it long-term as well. So every 30 days, you're doing something to bring value to them. Second thing is you reach out. Like, now you've got this event coming up, you reach out and think,
can you break it down? When you say add value, what does that mean to you? Like, what, like that example of what you shared when it comes to speaking at an event and standing out and doing more than others. Like, I wrote down those, like, whatever it is in terms of a value opt after that you're adding additional. When you say add value, I feel like it, sometimes it's harder to break that down of what is actually meant to add value to you.
So that's different for every person, right? So what value is for me is different than what's value for Sergio or Maria, right? So I have a thing called be their chief goal officer. Like, whatever their goal is becomes my goal. So if Andrew is going on to speak at this person's stage, what's their goal? Their goal is to have a great event. So Andrew can do more than just give a kick-ass 30-minute speech. He can help the entire event be better and offer the sub in, right? That's useless to somebody who's not hosting an event. So the people who you're trying to connect with, what is value to them? The value that I can bring Brendan Burchard is different than the value that I can bring Peter on, right? It's just everybody's valuing different things. So that's your job, is be their chief goal officer. And here's what's important. Either you can do the work yourself or you can make a connection to somebody who can. Like, a lot of times what they need help with isn't something that you can actually do, but you can hustle to find the person who can help them do that thing. And you're the guy who made the connection happen. So we often default to say, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, you don't necessarily have to know how to do that. You can just try to find the person who can help them do that. And a quick tell is look at their Instagram bio, look at their Twitter bio. What are they promoting? What's in their link? That's what they care about the most right now. Help them get more of that thing.
It's interesting. Very helpful.
Yeah. The other part is like, okay, well, that's how to build ongoing relationships. It's what do I do right now? Because there's an event coming up. Like, when is that event coming up?
I think it's third week of June.
Yeah, all these June events. I love it. You reach out and say, hey, I'd love to come and speak on X. And I just did this with Alex, who helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa. Alex is going. There's an event in Toronto right now for entrepreneurs, Archangel something happening. And Alex was going to go as a guest. Like, you can't just go as a guest, dude. that's not enough. Like you need to go and you should be on stage doing stuff. And it's like, well, but I don't have, people don't know me as a speaker. I don't have a story to share. It's like, well, and he's already got his lineup booked. It's like, okay, cool. Well, what's your business? He has dance classes, right? He teaches people how to do salsa, bachata, dancing. It's like, so what does an event need? Event needs people to hype them up with dance. You go to a Tony Robbins event, before you get on, you see people dancing, going crazy. Mm-hmm. Reach out to him and say, hey, I'd love to hype up the crowd before you come on and teach them some salsa dancing and get them going so they're not in their seats. Right. And he said, yes. So now 2 days in a row, it was yesterday and today. This is very meta. It's like happening right now. Alex wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning, gets downtown Toronto to go to this event, and he's hyping up people and teaching them how to dance before the next speaker comes on. This was not something that was initially planned in his event, but it brought value to the person. And sure, maybe people come and they sign up for classes, but the point isn't to sign up for dance classes. We're not selling anything there. The point is to build a relationship with the people who are putting on the event so that now any future event, guess what? They're going to call Alex and have him be the hype man at the front, teaching people how to dance. Right?
That's super helpful. And one other thing, I don't know if you've ever endured this, but oftentimes if someone throwing the event might have their business in one core area. And if you compete, they're really trying to build referral audiences, but not a competitor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's like chief goal officer. Like, what do they want to build? And you help them try to build it. If they're trying to build a referral business, help them get more referrals. If they're trying to build a direct sales model, help them get more sales. If they're trying to have a great experience, like, and sometimes you have to guess. Like everything I suggested for Andrew is a guess. I don't know the event. I don't know who those people are. I haven't looked at their bio. I haven't looked at their website, but having done enough events, those things usually come up. Speakers cancel. There's bonus upgrades, right? Like there's opportunities. Like the thing with Sean now turned into a 25-minute thing. Now it's supposed to be for 11 minutes and that's it before Gary, right? Now it's 25 minutes. Plus I'm going to be doing 2 other things with them there. Plus we just did a live stream on his channel 2 days ago talking about it. And so now I'm hyper involved in it just because I want to be, because I hate going to an event and just sitting there in the audience. I like to be involved in the thing, but you can take a guess at what they're doing. And the more that they're actually sharing, especially again, like the hack is to look at their Instagram bio, Twitter bio, see what they're promoting. But if you know that, hey, they're trying to build a referral engine, cool. That's like the greatest thing they can tell you. Help them go build a referral engine, either you or make introductions to them that can help.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, cool. And just one last quick thought on all of this, because this all seems to be around like networking, making connections, helping people. Charisma on Command. I don't know if you know their YouTube channel, but they made a video on me saying I was one of the greatest networkers that he had met. Like the guy who makes like the charisma channel saying I'm like the greatest networker that he's met. It's crazy because I don't think of myself as a networker. I hate networking events. It's the worst thing of all time for me. Networking, are you kidding me? I don't say hi to people. I hate it. But all I basically was doing as he broke down this video was I was just being people's chief goal officer. So one of the things I did was when somebody came and talked to me, and I always, being an introvert, I'm curious, so I listen. And so I asked, well, what are you doing? Like, why are you here? What are you trying to learn? And one person said that he was doing an interview series on entrepreneurs. I think it was Sean was there interviewing entrepreneurs. He's like, hey, I'm trying to get interviews lined up for my YouTube channel. At the time, it wasn't his Think channel, it was Video Influencers. I think it was the name of the channel. I'm trying to line up people for my channel. So cool. So like chief goal officer, Sean's here because he wants interviews for his channel, right? So now anytime somebody's telling me about their channel, I introduced him to a bunch of people and other people just based off knowing what they want. It's like, hey, do you know him? Oh, hey, do you know him? Just people who came up to me and started talking. I learned about what they wanted and connecting people together. All of a sudden, I'm this genius networker. I'm like, well, are you kidding me? I'm just trying to help you guys, right? But I didn't do anything. I just introduced 2 people together who didn't know each other because I thought there might be, a common interest or need. And then you get people calling you. You get people wanting you to help them with other things and be involved in their products, services, events, etc. So, value is different to different people. Be their chief goal officer, understand what they want and help them get it. think it was Zig Ziglar. It's like, you can have anything you want if you help other people get what they want. Something like that. Zane probably knows. Zane, what's the quote?
That's it. You got it.
Just like, be the chief goal officer more than what you're hired to do. The advice for Andrew is like, don't just go and give a kick-ass speech. You could be the most memorable speaker there. Awesome. That's great value. And like, plus, how else can we give value to these guys so that their whole event is amazing, not just your individual speech, right? And if you can start thinking on that level, just, it feels great, you know, but also amazing things open up to you.
What I wanted to do is I actually wanted to learn more about Zan's services. So I'll connect with him through Instagram. But what I'm looking to do is try to get some more insight on a new role that I'm going to be playing at a startup. So that's why I thought maybe it might be helpful more with yourself. It's not to do with blogging or anything. It's a part of an accelerator program. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of that is getting out of my comfort level and being exposed to startups, but further wanted to learn, you know, kind of, I've read the book and kind of need a little bit more help in terms of being able to structure my career path, I'd say, and understand how I can be of service to these institutions based on the experience I've have with 20 plus years in real estate. And what I'm going into is real estate technology startups.
Cool.
So that's one question that's kind of come up to in my head.
So what are you doing at the incubator?
I'm assisting, I'm actually co-running it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's with DMZ in our neighborhood in Toronto.
Oh, you're in Toronto. Cool. Out of
Ryerson. Well, I don't even know what they call themselves now, but yeah, Ryerson.
Yeah, it's not Ryerson anymore. It's
yeah,
Metropolitan University
or something. Yeah.
And so is that what you want to do? You want to like go co-found more?
I'd like to. This is something new, and you know, opportunities came about, and something I've been working on. And it's taken about 2 years to be able to find a VC to co-back this. And we're going to be starting up in September. I'm going to be visiting the office later today. But that's something where I thought I would be able to try to find out if I can get some help from Zan or from you, just in terms of understanding, again, how can I make an impact? Because a lot of the things you're saying are really coming into play here in terms of being able to provide a service and making sure that I have the opportunity to grow and learn in that role, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Most incubators don't work.
Yeah.
And most companies at incubators don't work. And so if you're looking for like next stage in life and what to do after, like that, if you make it work, you'll have unlimited opportunities to join other incubators, to start new incubators. The key is like, make this one thing work.
Right.
So for the entrepreneurs coming in, they struggle with, the biggest thing they struggle with is closing sales. Like they struggle with getting their product, depending on what stage, but it's an incubator. It's early stage.
It's early stage. Yeah.
So like, it's one, getting their MVP, getting their minimum viable product, like created, and then bringing in revenue. The businesses shut down because they can't generate sustainable cash flow.
Right.
So, you know, if you're in real estate, you understand the cash flow.
And sales. Yeah. And try to utilize the network is what you're saying.
Yeah. So helping them get to the point where they're at least covering their costs so that they can hang around long enough to blow up. Like so many entrepreneurs are focused on, I'm going to go change the world with my new tech startup. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's get you to the point where you can stay sustainable.
Right.
So what are those first sales that we need to bring in? And whether that's you making introductions to people, it's a big reason why people would join an incubator. You know, like you're going to introduce them to somebody that's going to help.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to just stay on them and train them, like helping them with their pitch, helping them with their decks, helping them on the phone, helping them do the follow-ups, helping them become salespeople. A lot of tech startups suck at sales because they're
that's what I'm finding.
Geeks, you know, but they did enough to get into the incubator. So they sold themselves enough to get in there. So they've got something, but it's that combination of the training to do better sales, even the accountability. Like if you help them stay, entrepreneurs suck with accountability, right?
Yeah.
So like they say they're going to do something and they don't do it. See, Evan, or are you saying that's me? I don't know.
No, I'm writing this down now. I wanted
I
to
just
grab
saw
a
Evan put
pen.
his hand up. But entrepreneurs suck with accountability, especially at the beginning where they have no idea. Then this is their first thing. So helping them with that, like coming in and setting what's our sales plan, guys? What's our what? What's our sales plan?
Yeah.
Right. And then helping them actually create one and stick to it and making sure that they're doing the thing that they said they were going to do, not just going into the tech that they love geeking out over. And you helping make introductions for them allows them to have success, which then allows the incubator to have success, which then allows you to go wherever you want to go afterwards.
Got it. Yeah, it's helpful. I appreciate that.
Yeah. There's the whole motivation side to it. Like you bring in guest speakers and all that kind of stuff, but really it's like get them to a sustainable business and then get them to going off and changing the world and sales plan and introductions. So like for every business, identify their ideal clients and then look your network and also friends of friends who might be able to come in and either buy from them or at least give them honest feedback of where they're falling down. Like people will take a meeting because they love supporting the university and they love supporting incubators.
Right.
They'll take the meeting if you reach out, and it may not become a client, but at least you get really good feedback. And they may not know how to do that. So if you spent, half an hour a week with everybody trying to help them make those introductions, some of those will hit and you'll end up really having a lot of success there. And then that's it. You just have to make that one work. And then you could be the incubator guru and go around the world doing it. Most of them fail. So you get the guy who says.
So in this one, it's interesting because we're being backed up by a large pension fund. So that's going to be a bit of a live case study in terms of the companies or 2 or 3 companies that we choose out of that incubator to work on.
Lean on them.
Okay.
Lean on the investors to say, hey, we've got a tech startup inside computer peripherals or whatever. We need to get to these guys. Like every company in their sales plan that comes through you needs to make a list of their top 50 clients that they want to talk to. And you might know some of them already. Cool. And if not, you talk to the pension fund. Hey, we need to talk to whoever's in charge of tech at Royal Bank. Do you know anybody?
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. I know where you're coming from. Is there anything that you recommend I read? Any of your material or anything in terms of, because this is kind of really pretty much what you are doing in terms of helping the startups as well.
I don't have a lot of good books to recommend. I don't really read a lot of books. I mean, Built to Serve is great.
Got it. Yeah, I've got that.
So that's a good one. Required reading at the incubator. But honestly, it's just, you just have to be a resource for them. Like help them get sales. Like if they're coming in, they probably already have a mission and they're probably working on their tech. But like, how do they commercialize this? And if you have big, like the pension fund that's involved in your thing, cool. They're investing into tons of companies. Like the amount they're investing in you is so small compared to their entire portfolio. The problem is most of their portfolios are not reaching out asking for help. And they have a deep network of people. So you reach out and say, hey, we need to get to whoever runs tech at Royal Bank to get feedback on this. Can you help us?
Yeah, I hear you. So you're saying leverage DMZ's resources to our advantage.
And network. Yeah, the resources as a network.
Yeah, exactly.
The tech guys need to know, the startup companies need to know how to create their thing, create the product or service. But the network to get it into the hands so it's commercializable, that needs to be pulling on DMZ, pulling on all the investors. And that could be you to help be the liaison for that. And maybe they say no, cool. But most people aren't even asking.
Yeah, you're right. No,
so
that's
you'd be
helpful.
the guy
I
who
appreciate
asks.
it.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
You got it.
Holy.
Maria was asking.
Thank you, Zan.
I told you.
There you go. But you know what? This is very meta. Like what Zan just did here, you were acting like most of the companies in your incubator act.
Yep, you're right.
Hidden, camera off, not asking questions, but needing help. Or like that's everybody who's coming through your company. They don't want to turn the camera on and ask for help and talk about their business because they'd rather just stay tinkering on tech. And what Zan said, like, hey, come on and ask this question. And hopefully you get, I could have not picked you. I could have said, no, screw this guy without his camera on. I could have like not given you good advice, but at least you took the shot, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So you need to be the Zan for everybody who comes in and help open up. Even if like Zan didn't have the answer to this question, he would have answered some other way, but the way he didn't have the answer, but he facilitated the connection. That's all you need to do. You may not have the answer to who runs tech at Royal Bank, but you can facilitate the connection with these people so that they can start to grow.
Got it. It's awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Zan.
There you go. Thank you, Zan.
That's what it's all about.
If you want to get a copy of Built to Serve and join us live for our next training with me to ask your questions, you can go get the book right there next to me, right there. I'll see you there. I'll see you to get the book. It's a good one. Much love.